working on the Female Leadership Network, Blue Connections, and mental health and wellbeing. So note those times, note those dates, put them in your calendar, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you there. So today, as I said, we've got Barry Harrison from Western Leisure Services. He's going to be talking to you about in-water non-traditional exercise programs. I've had the honour and privilege of knowing Barry for the last 5 years now. So Barry came across to one of my previous facilities down in City of Casey, working for YMCA Victoria. So looking forward to hear about some of the innovations that have been brought across to Western Leisure Services. Over to you, Barry.
Thanks, Adrian. It's great to be with everyone today, and I really appreciate Lifesaving Victoria giving me the opportunity, but also the industry the opportunity to share our experiences and learn from each other. As you said, my name is Barry Harrison. Next slide. Thanks, Adrian. Beautiful. My name is Barry Harrison. I'm the General Manager of AquaPulse and Werribee Outdoor Pool. That's what WAP means, Werribee Outdoor Pool. And I thought it was important to understand that Western Leisure Services is a proprietary limited company that's wholly owned by Wyndham City Council. So we're not part of council, but we're not totally independent from council as well. We have our own board, and we report through to them, but I obviously have a very close association with Wyndham City Council. WinActive, which you're going to see throughout the presentation, is our public-facing brand. So probably like Moreland Active or Melbourne Active, One Casey, etc. We do have a public-facing brand, and in Wyndham, that is WinActive. So I've been around the industry for around 30 years. Yes, I know it sounds like a long time, and I've been involved with privately owned management companies, non-for-profits, so the Y, as you mentioned, Adrian. I worked for Royal Life at one stage when Royal managed Dandenong Oasis, and I was also, here's a little bit of trivia for you, I was on the interim board when Royal Life and Surf Life were coming together as Lifesaving Victoria. So I was there in the very, very early days of Lifesaving Victoria as well. So been around, know a lot of people, but I'm very excited to talk to you about this. So next slide. Thanks, Adrian. So what is AquaFit, as we're calling it? Well, AquaFit is, as it says there, an innovative water-based exercise opportunity. So what does it mean? What does that statement mean? Well, innovative, to our best of our knowledge, this program hasn't been done before. SplashFit, who provided the equipment, and I'll show you the equipment in a moment, they haven't sold it, a lot of equipment, two pieces in other centres, but they haven't been put in in an organised, programmatic way. So it hasn't been done before. It's also innovative because this really grew out of an idea from one of the team members. And if there's two things I want to get across today, is one is, let's think outside the square. Let's be a bit more innovative in our programming, especially around water, but also is some of the best ideas come from our team, and this is certainly one of them. It came from Pete, who's been around Western Leisure Services for 5 years, and he came up with this idea. It's water-based, and we know how important and how, what can I say, beneficial water-based activity can be for a number of people within the community. And as we were developing this concept, it really came around that what we're looking at is a wet gym versus the dry gym, which we all have, or most of us have, and that's got treadmills and bikes and rowers and weight machines and free weights, etc., and very intimidating to a number of people. And this is almost an equivalent, but it's within the pool. So it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to explore this. It hadn't been done before. It's an opportunity for our staff. It's an opportunity for the Wyndham community. And as we were piloting this, a lady came in and used the facility. Now, we were only having about 3 one-hour sessions as we were trialing / piloting this. And she was visiting a friend in Wyndham. She was from Perth. And she said, I heard you were doing this. And so I really wanted to try it out. So she was in the local community. She had heard about it and wanted to really try it, and she loved it, as all people did who have tried it. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But it's an opportunity on many levels for a number of different people. Next slide. So, next slide, Adrian. Thank you. So what we did, there was a pilot conducted in 2018, and we had the Aqua Bike, as you see on the slide there, and we had the Aqua Walker, but we also had an Aqua Treadmill. We found the Aqua Treadmill probably didn't work quite as well for what we wanted, and so we replaced that with the Aqua Trainer. But we ended up getting 6 bikes, 5 trainers, and 5 walkers. Now, having used all of them, and my personal preference and the most popular piece of equipment is definitely the Aqua Walker, but I'll get onto that in a moment. As I said, we did a pilot in 2018 just to test the waters. Is this equipment going to be well received? What will the public think? Let's try it out. Once that decision was made, and that was prior to my time with Western Leisure, then it was a matter of getting the equipment, and we're actually renting it. They had to make it, then it was delivered, and then we went into a pre-opening phase. And so that started late 2019, where we were running 3 sessions a week. And that was to introduce people to the equipment, inform them and teach them how to use the equipment, and really start to generate the excitement around it. And that certainly did work. In fact, the response in many ways was overwhelming. We had lots of people inquiring about it. Originally, we thought what we would do is have essentially group fitness sessions, probably, where there would be an instructor, people would use the different pieces of equipment, and we'd do it like that. But in the trial period in late 2019, people wanted access to this on an ongoing basis. So what we did, we sort of changed tact midway through as we were getting all of this feedback, and we changed it that we'd have 2 pieces of each of the 3 pieces of equipment in the water at all times, available at all times that the pool was open. It's in our warm water pool, and we're very, very lucky that we have a very large warm water pool. But if the pool's open, people can access this equipment. And with the launch on the 27th of February of this year, in the less than a month that it was officially open and open at all times for people to use it, I never saw the equipment not being used. Every time, whether that was early morning, peak times, middle of the day, at least 2 to 3 people were using this equipment at all times. So it was beneficial that we made that decision, that it is available, people can come and use it. And it means more people can use it, and it's included as part of their membership. And I think this is very important. And we can talk about business cases, and the business case was built around a group fitness model. But what we're finding is in the short term that we had, and so it's not a large sample size, but in the short period that it was open, we found that people were actually coming along and joining to use this equipment because it's in the warm water pool, so that's very beneficial. But 2 is that it is there available whenever. So we have our Aqua Gym, comprises 3 different types of equipment, and proving very popular with great demand there. Next slide, thanks, Adrian. In any program, I think it's important to give it an identity so people can relate to it and understand it. And this is the identity that we came up with. So the company that makes the equipment, and they're a company that's based in Bendigo, it's their design. They came up with it. They're called Splash Fit. And so sort of played around. AquaPulse, SplashFit, AquaFit was certainly a logical way of labelling this program. But then to give it a bit more of an identity, you can see the water droplet in the logo there, obviously meaning water. You can see the person that's meant to signify joy, movement, excitement, exercise, the ripple effect. And that's the ripple effect of people who can't traditionally exercise or may not be able to ride a bike or get on a treadmill, being able to do this type of exercise in a controlled environment, in a non-weight bearing environment. And that's the ripple effect of them and the benefits they will get for themselves, for the family, for the local community. It's an interesting story. Once we had the launch, and we heard a story of a lady who came in and she loved riding her bike when she was young, but she had gained weight, as we all do, and hadn't been able to get on a bike for a lot of years. Can't quite remember, 10 plus years. But she was able to get onto the Aqua bike and she absolutely loved it. So it's this type of benefit that really we've found the community and our members and those people using the equipment are able to experience. And down the bottom there, you see powered by WinActive. That's how we label all of our own programs. And WinActive is an initiative of the Wyndham City as well. Next slide, thanks, Adrian. So why AquaFit? Now, I'm preaching to the converted here because I know a lot of you, or all of you, would relate to the benefits of exercise within the water. But we know that reduced stress on joints, spine, extremities, et cetera, muscle relaxation, ease of movement, the resistance of the water for strengthening, pain reduction, increased balance, coordination, circulation, and flexibility. So all of that really adds up to coming with two target markets. And when we went from group fitness through to being available in that gym type concept, that aqua gym, that wet gym, there are really two markets that we thought we could attract and that we were starting to market to. Obviously that's been put on hold. But the first one is the elderly and infirm. And I'm sure everyone that has a warm water pool will relate to how freeing and how rejuvenating a warm water pool is to those that haven't got good mobility in the dry. So this adds a dimension to that. The other one is rehabilitation, and we have great relationship with Werribee Football Club, Wyndham Basketball, Wyndham Netball, and started to talk with them, especially Werribee Football Club, and they were starting to get their players who needed some rehab for whatever reason to come down and starting to use that equipment as well. So that's why we went down that track. And next slide, thanks, Adrian. I think for me, one of the big benefits of something like this is, yes, there's the physical benefits, and we've been through that. There's the psychological benefits that we're all aware of from being active, contributes to. But there is a community within our warm water pool, and now there was a community being built up around the AquaFit equipment. And we know that when people are part of a community, that they are more involved, they feel better, and their health and well-being is a lot better. So it was really important we recognised this early, and that people feel part of that, and we're certainly seeing that at the moment. And just to wrap up, thanks, Adrian. Next slide. Two little quotes there. We are never defined by the challenges we face, and we have members of our community who are facing enormous challenges daily in just being active. But we are only defined by the way in which we choose to face them. So we're trying to assist people in giving them that ability to have another way of facing those challenges. And an interesting stat, when the body is submerged to the chest, 80% of the body's weight is reduced in the equation. So it is about taking all of that weight bearing off people and giving them the opportunity to be free, to be able to move freely, to be able to move without pain, which can be so important to some of our community. Thanks, Adrian. So sort of that's just a very short overview of the program. It is very new. It is innovative. I think for me, some of the and I'm sure I'll have the question, what were some of the issues or problems we had to overcome, was one, how do we do this? And when you're doing something that hasn't been done before, what do you do? How do you do it? Is it in the water for certain periods and out of the water? Do we use group fitness? Do we don't? And so we made judgment calls along the way about how to do that. And we ended up, as I said, they're in the water all the time. They're available for everyone and certainly are having a great benefit. So yes, Adrian, I'd like to open it up for any other questions. And just before, so in case anyone goes, just want to say thank you very much for listening to me. So I can share the great journey that the AquaFit, even though short only at the moment, but the AquaFit has been on so far.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Barry. Question for me. What would you do? What would you do differently next time, if any?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I sort of alluded to the fact that it was a new program and there were many hurdles. So what would I do differently? Well, now that I've been through that experience, we would plan from the start for having them in the pool at all times, and probably consult a little bit more with our pool users. With the question of, do we do the group fitness? Do we keep them in all the time or not, etc. We probably didn't get enough time to consult with our pool users, even though we knew the equipment was really popular and the pool users were enthusiastic. Certainly at times there were a couple of people who weren't happy that it was there. It disrupted their normal routine, and I would have liked more opportunity to consult with them.
For sure. And if any other facilities were to adopt this program, what are some of the top tips for success that you'd want to pass on to them?
Top tips would be come down and have a chat to us, and I'm only too happy to share our experiences at AquaPulse. The second one would be consult with the community as well, and if possible, run some of those trials. And it really did build excitement in the whole warm water pool community that we had in the equipment coming. And what we're finding and what I've seen since our launch is the people will help each other on the equipment, whether they know each other or not. So that's the second tip. Do some trials to build that excitement. And the third one is, it does take water space away from people. If you've got a warm water pool, I think that's the ideal environment. But if you've got a 50 or a program pool, just be aware of that space, and it will take away from some other programs that you are running.
Absolutely. We've got a question from RJ Barry. So yes. Obviously AquaPulse and WLS are leaders across a number of fronts, particularly for small facilities and councils who may not have the in-house expertise to design programs and procure equipment. Does WLS have an appetite to license the program IP and or facilitate procurement for other facilities? Could be a win-win for smaller facilities and WLS.
100%, Adrian. 100%. A great question. Thanks, RJ. And I think what we'd be able to bring to you is that experience that I've talked to you about. It is already labelled. So if people were interested, very, very happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, fantastic. I guess another one from me, Barry, is I'll refer to the Watch Around Water Awards. I'll refer to this initiative. I've been to AquaPulse quite a number of times, and the signage and the innovation that you see is second to none. Even at one point, not sure if it's still there, was you can bring your recycling to a vending machine that's out in the foyer. So I guess the question is it something in the water there? What's the secret? How do WLS continue to lead the way in this space?
Good question, Adrian. And prior to coming to WLS, I probably wouldn't have understood what it takes. But first of all, the vending machine unfortunately isn't there. That program was discontinued, and we were doing that in conjunction with Wyndham City. I think there's a couple of things with it as to reasons as to why WLS is innovative. One is it is a value of WLS. So having it as a value, and those organisations that try hard to live their values, being a value, you are aware of it and probably a lot more open to it than potentially other places, potentially other places. The other thing is we're small enough to be nimble enough to be able to try things out. So when a decision needs to be made, if it doesn't have major implications on the budget, we can do it as a close-knit team. We can make the decision probably there and then on the ground. For major budget implications, we can take it to the board. But if it comes up through my area, I can speak to our board about it. And so once again, within a month, it can go to a board meeting and we can have a decision. So I think it is around that size, but that nimbleness that we're able to do these sorts of things. And I suppose the last thing that I'd point out is we've got great people. And I think this industry is full of great people. At WLS, there are great people, and we try and listen to them, and we try as much as possible to embrace them and their ideas. And I'm not saying all other organisations don't, but with that nimbleness, we're able to probably act on them a bit quicker.
Absolutely. We've got another comment from RJ. I think there's a number of opportunities for mutual benefit. Some facilities do one thing really well and not others. Some are generalists. We need better opportunities to share the best ideas and license programs to find mutually beneficial outcomes. High quality and innovative programs for smaller councils with an income opportunity, as well as the ability to have greater revenue pools for those that are limited by geography. We've had Sheila say, thanks, Barry. Great innovation and community/people focus. One more for you, Barry, from me.
Sure.
Pre-COVID, mindful that there's a big spanner in the works with COVID-19 happening.
Yes.
Are you able to share with us? What was in the works? What the community could have expected pre-COVID from WLS, or is that top secret? Watch this space.
Look, in many ways, I suppose we're like any centre/organisation with a keen, enthusiastic staff. There's lots of things in the pipeline. Everything from how to use this equipment and as I talked about, potentially using them as group fitness pieces as well, through to swim school, and we've got a great relationship with LSV and using the Swim and Survive, but expanding and extending that, making that a not only bigger but a better program, through to our facilities and our gyms. And we're looking at we were pre-COVID, as you said, Adrian, we're looking at ways of how can we make those better and how can we make the experience better. So look, in a nutshell, I think for us, it is about the customer experience and how do we make the customer experience better. And that's everything from website right through to the programs that people are involved in. Yeah. So very broad, and I'm sorry I didn't give too much detail there, but yeah, it is like most places, we're thinking about every aspect and how we can improve.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's enough from me, Barry. It doesn't look like any more questions have come through. So I just want to say, on behalf of Fitness Australia and Lifesaver Victoria, I just want to thank you for taking the time out to present today for our professional development series, and looking forward to catching up once restrictions are lifted.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Adrian. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone that was listening. I hope you got something out of it. And yes, I certainly do look forward to the day where we can catch up and have a coffee.
All good. Thanks, Baz. We'll chat to you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Take care.
Bye.